In the aftermath of Germany's post-World War I turmoil, National Socialism arose as a potent ideology, promising economic revitalization, cultural cohesion, and national resurgence under Adolf Hitler's unyielding leadership. Its early successes, restoring prosperity, unifying society, and consolidating authority, demonstrated a transformative governance model. Yet, Hitler's relentless drive to push National Socialism to its extreme, coupled with territorial overreach, flawed strategic planning, and a rigid authoritarian structure, precipitated Germany's catastrophic defeat by 1945. This essay examines the ideology's origins in Germany's crisis, its economic restructuring, its alignment with national identity, its political consolidation, and, most critically, its wartime failures and systemic collapse. The analysis balances National Socialism's capacity to address immediate crises against the fatal consequences of Hitler's uncompromising vision, highlighting moments when restraint could have altered Germany's trajectory. Through an objective lens, the essay elucidates how initial triumphs unraveled under strategic miscalculations and governance deficiencies, revealing the fragility of unchecked ambition. Germany's 1918 defeat and the Treaty of Versailles forged a crucible of economic despair and cultural humiliation, from which National Socialism crafted a vision of renewal. Its economic policies restored stability, its cultural integration galvanized the populace, and its political strategy secured power. However, Hitler's determination to maximize his ideology within his lifetime, combined with overambitious expansion and a leadership model lacking counsel or succession, led to ruin. This exploration reveals the transient benefits of National Socialism's mobilization against the enduring failures of its wartime pursuits, underscoring missed opportunities for pragmatic governance that might have preserved its early achievements. Part 1. Origins in Germany's post-war turmoil. National Socialism emerged from the wreckage of Germany's 1918 defeat, a tailored response to economic collapse and societal disarray that revealed its early appeal and latent weaknesses. The Treaty of Versailles imposed reparations and territorial losses, triggering hyperinflation in 1923 that eradicated savings and unemployment that soared to 6 million by 1932. This climate of despair demanded bold solutions, which the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler, delivered through ultranationalism, economic dirigisme, and cultural unity. Inspired by Johann Herder's Vogue concept, Houston Stewart Chamberlain's racial theories, and Gottfried Feder's critique of interest-based finance, the ideology promised national restoration. Hitler, born in 1889 in Austria, absorbed these ideas in Vienna and as a decorated World War I soldier, joining the German Workers' Party in 1919 and transforming it into the National Socialist German Workers' Party by 1921, with a 25-point program addressing Germany's woes. Rooted in Prussia's tradition of centralized authority, the ideology leveraged the stab-in-the-back myth, blaming internal betrayal for the war loss, to unify the populace through propaganda. Social Darwinism, framing national survival as a competitive struggle, justified its assertive stance, distinguishing it from movements like Italian fascism. Its ability to harness Germany's cultural and historical energies fostered early cohesion, but Hitler's resolve to push National Socialism to its limits, evident in his uncompromising rhetoric, foreshadowed strategic challenges. By prioritizing absolute control over flexible alliances, the regime set the stage for the overexpansion that would unravel its wartime efforts, undermining the very unity it initially cultivated. Part 2. Economic restructuring and strategic vulnerabilities. National Socialism's economic policies from 1933 to 1939 revitalized Germany, showcasing remarkable efficacy while exposing vulnerabilities tied to Hitler's expansive ambitions. The Weimar Republic's economy, battered by Versailles reparations and the Great Depression, suffered hyperinflation in 1923 and unemployment peaking at 6 million by 1932. Hitler's regime implemented state-directed planning, stabilizing the currency through the Reichsbank under Hjalmar Schacht and initiating infrastructure projects like the Autobahn, employing thousands. The 1936 four-year plan, overseen by Hermann Göring, elevated steel production from 10.7 million to 22.5 million tons and reduced unemployment to under 1 million, demonstrating centralized coordination. Private enterprises like Krupp and IG Farben flourished under state contracts, bolstering industrial output. Propaganda attributing recovery to Hitler restored public confidence, contrasting with Weimar's fragmentation. Conscription in 1935 absorbed labor, enhancing employment figures. However, the system's reliance on rearmament tied prosperity to military objectives, reflecting Hitler's intent to maximize National Socialism's impact. Without war, public works and trade might have sustained growth, but the focus on militarization risked resource depletion. These economic achievements restored national pride, yet their alignment with Hitler's aggressive vision heightened strategic risks. By prioritizing rapid expansion over sustainable development, the regime overlooked opportunities to strengthen economic resilience, paving the way for the wartime exhaustion that would precipitate Germany's defeat. Part 3. Alignment with national identity and ideological intensity. National Socialism's integration with German identity amplified its early success but reflected Hitler's unyielding ideological intensity, which destabilized its foundation. Germany's national character, unified in 1871 under Otto von Bismarck, emphasized nationalism, Prussian discipline, and centralized governance, providing a receptive framework for the Nazi regime. The 1938 annexation of Austria and the Sudetenland fulfilled aspirations for ethnic unification, capitalizing on German resilience, while Hitler's policies reduced unemployment from 6 million to under 1 million by 1939, leveraging organizational efficiency. The regime's rigid authoritarianism, embodied in the Führerprinzip, aligned with Germany's tradition of strong leadership but prioritized ideological purity over pragmatic governance. This cultural alignment facilitated rapid mobilization, with Germany's acceptance of authority rooted in imperial and Weimar volatility, enhancing early stability. The increase in steel production to 22.5 million tons by 1939 relied on German industriousness, but Hitler's determination to take National Socialism to its extreme provoked strategic overreach. The 1945 defeat, driven by Eastern Front failures, stemmed from ideological miscalculations, while post-1945 democracy and 1990 reunification underscored a national identity independent of National Socialism. The regime's ability to unify through cultural resonance yielded significant benefits, but its ideological intensity, rejecting moderation, eroded sustainability. By dismissing diplomatic restraint, such as consolidating gains in 1938, Hitler's vision intensified the governance vulnerabilities that would culminate in Germany's wartime collapse, as its ambitions outstripped practical realities. Part 4. Political consolidation and territorial overreach. Adolf Hitler's political consolidation and National Socialism's territorial ambitions demonstrated strategic prowess undone by reckless overextension, driven by his resolve to maximize his vision within his lifetime. Born in 1889 in Austria, Hitler embraced nationalist ideas in Vienna and as a World War I soldier, joining the German Workers' Party in 1919. By 1921, he led the National Socialist German Workers' Party, using the failed 1923 Beer Hall Putsch to gain prominence and author Mein Kampf. The Great Depression, with 6 million unemployed, propelled the party's vote from 2.6% in 1928 to 37.3% in 1932, securing the chancellorship in 1933. The Reichstag Fire and Enabling Act dismantled democratic institutions, centralizing power with calculated efficiency. The pursuit of Lebensraum sought to expand German territory into Eastern Europe, with the 1938 Anschluss and Sudetenland annexation achieved through Western appeasement. The 1939 Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact enabled Poland's invasion, igniting World War II. The 1941 Soviet invasion and U.S. entry, alongside failed North African campaigns by 1943, exhausted resources. Moderation, such as halting at Poland or maintaining the Soviet Pact, could have preserved gains, but Hitler's commitment to pushing National Socialism to its fullest extent drove relentless conquest. Early political successes unified Germany, but territorial overreach, fueled by ideological fervor, provoked global opposition. The failure to heed counsel or adjust strategy, compounded by resource depletion, directly contributed to Germany's defeat, exposing the limitations of a leadership model without checks or succession. Part 5. Wartime failures and governance collapse. National Socialism's wartime pursuits and governance structure, initially effective, collapsed under the weight of Hitler's unyielding vision, overambitious expansion, and systemic flaws. The Lebensraum doctrine targeted Poland, Czechoslovakia, and the Soviet Union for territorial dominance. Early victories, including the 1938 Anschluss and 1939 conquest of Poland, leveraged diplomacy and blitzkrieg tactics, but the 1941 Operation Barbarossa and U.S. entry overextended Germany's capabilities. North African defeats by 1943 and the 1944 D-Day invasion accelerated collapse. Alliances with Italy and Japan, misaligned with Germany's priorities, diverted resources, while ideological hostility toward the Soviet Union ignored strategic realities. The Führerprinzip vested absolute authority in Hitler, lacking counsel, mechanisms to remove him, or succession plans. His unilateral decisions, invading the Soviet Union, engaging the US, and pursuing expansive conquest, were enabled by a system that stifled dissent through the 1934 Night of the Long Knives and state security apparatus. Figures like Hermann Göring held nominal roles, unable to counter Hitler, whose resolve to take National Socialism to its extreme tied the regime's fate to his life. Opportunities for restraint, such as consolidating Western Europe in 1940 or avoiding US provocation, were dismissed, reflecting Hitler's determination to die as Führer, pushing his vision to its limits. Benefits like economic revitalization and national cohesion were significant, but overexpansion, poor planning, and governance rigidity proved fatal. Germany's defeat resulted from territorial overreach, resource exhaustion, and the absence of leadership checks, highlighting National Socialism's inability to sustain its early promise. Conclusion: a measured reflection on National Socialism's legacy. National Socialism's trajectory in Germany encapsulates a paradox of remarkable achievements and catastrophic failures, shaped by Adolf Hitler's relentless ambition to realize his vision within his lifetime. Its response to the post-1918 crisis restored economic stability, with steel production rising from 10.7 million to 22.5 million tons by 1939 and unemployment plummeting, showcasing the potency of state-directed policies. Cultural alignment with German nationalism unified a fragmented society, while political consolidation under Hitler restored order. These successes, economic renewal, societal cohesion, and authoritative governance, offered a model of rapid national revival, surpassing the Weimar Republic's fragmentation and rivaling contemporary systems in immediate impact. Yet, these gains were ephemeral, undone by Hitler's unyielding pursuit of territorial dominance, flawed strategic planning, and a governance model devoid of counsel, removal mechanisms, or succession. The invasions of Poland and the Soviet Union, coupled with engagements against the US and failed North African campaigns, exhausted resources and provoked global opposition, leading to defeat by 1945. Missed opportunities for moderation, halting at Poland, preserving the Soviet Pact, or consolidating Western Europe, might have sustained the regime, but Hitler's ideological intensity precluded pragmatism. Accepted history records that Hitler committed suicide in Berlin, choosing death over capture, yet alternative theories suggest he may have escaped, possibly to Argentina, abandoning Germany and his vision. Whether he took his life or fled, Hitler's failure to fight to the end as Führer, either by suicide or retreat, marked a final abandonment of the nation he led to ruin. National Socialism's legacy underscores the peril of governance reliant on singular leadership and unchecked ambition, where transient triumphs are eclipsed by the enduring consequences of strategic overreach and institutional fragility.